Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes at work that time. They decided to put me back on mute again for some strange reason. Even all, welcome to Newcastle United v Wolverhampton Wanderers preview. Please like and share, subscribe, help the channel grow. It's all free. Please adhere to standard community guidelines, keep comments respectful, and enjoy the show. Evening, Roger. Leslie's obviously doing the modding tonight. You can join from 99p. You can be entered into a regular members only prize draw. Or you can donate using Super Chat in the bottom right-hand corner. All profits from the channel are donated to charity. Forest 1-0 up at Liverpool. Is the Liverpool train derailing? Very interesting. Magpie Stew, evening. Gary, evening. Leslie's still there talking. Roger's in the house. Evening, Roger. Looking forward to seeing you again in person tomorrow night. Thursday night. Evening, Andy. I'm not late. It's past. Evening, Emily. It's nice to see you in the chat again. Hope you're okay. I love it how Andy thinks I'm late because it's 8:15. It's not 8 o'clock. Terrible. Right. We've got Sir Elton in the background, ready to come on and talk about this game. I was hoping Gary was going to make it as well, but he's busy doing these kids' history homework. Now, I don't know about you. I never did my homework. And if you're going to do homework these days, just use devices like Alexa and things like that to get the answers. It's easy these days, man. Poor show, Gary. Poor show. Right, let's bring Elton in. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Baz. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I got one eye on the Liverpool Nottingham Forest game.
Yes, you keep
one
us up
eye.
to date. Is it still 1-0?
Yes, it is. According to Paul Merson, not so long ago, it was all Liverpool. Forest broke away and scored. So I think you can safely say Liverpool will score in this game. But very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't for 1 minute think Forest will win the league, but I think they've got a very good chance of qualifying for the Champions League next season.
Absolutely.
And, even if they having won at Anfield already this season, even if they got a point at home tonight, I think they would regard that as possibly, a point gained as opposed to 2 lost.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
3 lost.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely agree. I think Forest have got a very good chance. They're sort of in the kind of form Newcastle were in 2 years ago when we finished in the Champions League. They're on a roller coaster and they don't seem like coming off it very soon, do they?
No, it's what is it? It's something like 7 on the bounce now. It's a big number.
Yeah, they're doing brilliantly. Before we go into the Newcastle Wolves game, there's one thing that happened today that was breaking news in a way, and it's quite interesting. No one got penalised for PSR breakage. Now, apparently, Man United and Chelsea were close. Obviously,
Leicester are going to, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, according to the Premier League, the announcement was no one was getting done, so that was including Leicester as well. So,
well, I hope that's the case because, as you know, I can't stand this PSR. I think it's a nonsense. But I was told that Leicester were quite exonerated. It's because they had a relegation in between.
Yes.
Listen, I don't mind admitting I haven't really got a clue where PSR and football finance is concerned. I'm hopeless on that.
Well, I mean, the one thing that I find funny, though, is that no one gets penalised, and all the conspiracy theorists are out there saying, well, the reason why no one's been penalised is because Man United and Chelsea are getting away with it. The old cartel six.
No one seems to be getting away with it more than Man City. They're facing 115 charges, and they reckon that City will spend probably above 150 million in this current transfer window. So they're either genuinely not worried about these charges and the players they're signing, unless there's a clause in the contract which says if we get relegated to the Championship or even lower, because they get, I don't know, minus $1 trillion points.
Yes.
I really don't know. It's all guesswork. That I don't care who you talk to, whether it's Stefan or it's all guesswork. It really is.
Well, with Stefan, he's very, very good with numbers, and you can actually see on the public houses, if you go into it, you can see all the financial ingoings and outgoings because the football clubs have got to publicise it, you see. So it's whether you want to sit there and go through it and work it all out yourself.
No, I don't.
Exactly. Well, he does. So obviously he's got his finger.
Oh, well, we need people like that. Believe me, we do need people that understand it.
Yeah, 100%.
You
know? Leslie says she read that Leicester could not be penalised currently because there's an ongoing case. That sort of makes sense.
Oh, God. In other words, they could be.
Could be.
Going. Yeah, well, there you go.
It's a nightmare. Kelly going, what do you think? I don't know if he is or isn't, to be honest with you. I'm not listening to those kind of rumours from, where they come from. The Premier League are seeking clarification over Leicester because they were in the Championship last season. They have technically failed PSR over 3 seasons. Yeah, because technically when they went down into the Championship, they failed PSR, but obviously Championship couldn't then penalise them because they then moved into the Premier League. So it is all very complicated, isn't it?
Whatever has been said, Leicester do not have a clean sheet.
Yeah.
It may turn out that way. It might well do. But if the Premier League, if Mr. Masters and his cronies want to get you, they'll pull out all the stops in order to do so.
Yeah, I agree. Right, this is why we're here. We're talking about the next match. Obviously, a very important one that Martin Dubravka has still not left Newcastle yet. Apparently, there's.
Oh, you're not talking about Everton, Aston Villa.
Nice one. Good effort.
I can't blame a boy for trying.
You can't. You can have your little say about the game. No, I don't mind.
No, I'm more than happy to talk about Newcastle. I told you the other night, I thoroughly enjoy watching Newcastle play. I think it's a great breath of fresh air.
Exactly. But Dubravka is still at Newcastle. It's great news. We're blocking the move. Apparently, he's got personal terms with someone in Saudi Arabia, but we can't afford to lose him. I've heard some slightly worrying news about Nick Pope. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't had it verified, and I don't really want to mouth it all off because if I'm wrong, it makes you look stupid. But I think we're blocking the move personally because we don't think Nick Pope's going to be back anytime soon. So,
and who would be your first choice goalkeeper between the two? I think Dubravka has been absolutely superb for you.
He has. He absolutely has. He's given more confidence to the back line, being able to play with his feet. That's Pope's weakness, isn't it? Yeah, but when it comes to shot stopping, Pope is ahead of Dubravka. So they've both got their great qualities. It's just a shame we don't have that mixed into one player because that obviously we would have a cracking goalkeeper on our hands then.
Well, put it this way: if Pope was fit now, I don't think Eddie Howe would change the goalkeeper because you're on a roll. You're playing good football and you're playing from the back. I think he would stick with Dubravka even if Pope was given a clean bill of health. Yeah,
I agree. I wouldn't change him even if Pope was fit because you got to get back up to match fitness, match sharpness. It's a risk, especially when he's kept 6 clean sheets out of 8. You can't drop a goalkeeper when that happens, can you?
No, it's not
fair. But I have seen it happen. Even Lee and T. Right. So press conference. There's a good energy, a good feel. We know this is an important week for us with 2 big Premier League games. It's great to be back at home, and we're looking forward to it. As Eddie Howe at the press conference today, it is a big week for all Premier League clubs having 2 weeks and 2 games in such a short period of time. Isak is a potential doubt. He'll be desperate to play, of course. I love Alex to continue score, but the most important thing for me is the team is functioning well for him, and he's functioning well for the team. The 2 go hand in hand. We have looked like scoring goals recently. That's such a big thing for our confidence levels. Hopefully that continues. Like I said, you've been enjoying watching Newcastle play, and that's one of the reasons why, isn't it? Because we have looked like scoring in every game, haven't we?
Yeah. I would be a little bit concerned if I was a Newcastle fan over Isak. I feel pretty sure Arsenal will tempt you.
Do you think?
With the news today that Jesus is going to be out for the rest of the season,
Yes, I saw that.
I think Arsenal will test you. I think they'll see if they can get Isak.
Well, they can afford him. That's what Stefan said. He saw the numbers at Arsenal. He says he's the only club in the Premier League who can afford him.
I would think you're talking a minimum of 120 million pounds.
Yeah,
minimum. Could be even higher. But I mean, if Arsenal are in that frame of mind and they have the money, as Stefan has said, to do it, then rather than say, well, we'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, why not say, right, let's go for Isak at 150 million or something like that? Who's to say they won't? City are going to spend more than that on maybe 3 or 4 players in this window.
Yes.
Now, why not Arsenal do the same, except on one player?
Yeah.
Because they've got a very good squad, Arsenal, but they are sadly lacking in that department. They have been for 18 months, to be truthful.
They have been. They can't score goals, and I think I mentioned it a few times.
This is no inside information. This is purely logic, and having worked in football for as many years as I have, I can almost smell it. You know, I can feel it in my gut that Arsenal will try.
But
I hope they fail. I hope they fail. I hope Isak stays at Newcastle.
So do we.
I mean, you don't want another Supermax situation, do you? Not that you'll remember that, but
my dad does.
Yeah, well, Supermax from Newcastle to Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I don't remember it, but I know about it very, very well. My dad's favourite player. But the thing is, it is going to cost Arsenal north of 120, 150 million. The problem we've got is if we sell him, we've got Osula is our only striker, and he's not proven yet. So we would have to go out and spend 100 million of that to replace him. So the hierarchy will be thinking, what's the point in selling them when we've just got that money to
What's his contract situation, Isak? Do you know?
2008. He's got contract till 2008. So he's got another 3 years on his contract.
2028.
Yeah, sorry, 2028. Sorry.
Yeah,
he's got another 3 years left, basically.
I'm no good with figures, so stop trying to test me.
No, definitely 3 years left on it.
You're in the driving seat, but contracts are worthless in football. They didn't used to be, but they are now. If a player wants to go and can make it difficult for his parent club, because let's say Isak does want to go to Arsenal and the bright lights of London and all that sort of thing, then he will probably do it. But at least you'll know you'll get the price that you want. And you want it, if it does happen, you want it done sooner rather than later, so that you have got time to go into the market.
Well, that is it.
And get a replacement.
We would have to get a replacement. That's the problem. Yeah. There's no doubts about it. Otherwise, that would derail our season completely. I just can't see us saying yes to it. Even Alan Shearer's come out and said he's seen the project. He spoke to our owners, and he's seen what they want to do with Isak, and they've said they'll hold off any offers.
Good.
Down to the player as well, though, like you said, isn't it? If the players,
as I say, I've no inside knowledge here. This is purely common sense. Arsenal need a top class striker, and he is certainly that. Yeah. We all know that they like him and they're interested in him. And with the news today about Jesus, then common sense tells you that Arsenal's first choice would be Isak.
Yeah. There was a few Arsenal channels turning their interest to the Aston Villa striker, Duran.
No, he's a very promising lad, but he's not. I don't think he's ready to spearhead a charge for the title.
Yeah, true. He's 21.
Again, just my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's just that's what I've read. Obviously I like to read as much as I can about what's going on in the transfer window, and like I said, I just don't think we will sell Isak. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But again, never say never in football, like you said.
Oh, never say never, right there.
So we kind of got it wrong. Well, I got it wrong, I should say, about Harvey Barnes. Apparently, he was injured, and that's why he came off at half time against Bromley. But he did look disinterested to me. So it was a good sub in the end. But it looks like he could be out for a couple of months with a thigh injury, which is very disappointing. Did you get to see the game against Bromley, man? You probably didn't, because I don't think it was televised, was it?
No.
It was.
No, I wouldn't. I would have probably drawn my curtains if they'd been playing in the back garden for that game, to be truthful.
Oh, it was good for Bromley.
Oh, yeah, good for Bromley, but I have no affiliation with Bromley whatsoever. So, I wouldn't have watched that. I'll certainly be watching. It's Thursday, isn't it? You play
Wednesday, tomorrow night.
I won't be watching that either then.
Yeah, tomorrow night, and then
I'll have to do with the highlights of Newcastle.
Because
Everton play Aston Villa tomorrow. That is very much my priority. Sorry, folks.
No, we don't blame you.
It won't be away the lads for me tomorrow night. It'll be come on, you toughies. Come on, lads.
Hey, Moyes is back. Sven Botman, it's always a balance, because after 2 big physical games for Sven, we need to rest and recover. There was a few warning signs that he was going into fatigue. Then, of course, you need to get back up and running again, because the schedule is unrelenting. There's a few we'll assess, and we will make the right calls for them individually. So Botman, potentially a bit of a risk. I think he's been magnificent since he came back. It's not often you see a player come back from a knee injury and perform for 90 minutes and then another 90 minutes after that as well. I thought it was incredible.
Says a lot for him. Speaks a lot of his character.
Have you seen much of Sven Botman? Obviously, I know he's been injured.
Not a great deal. I mean, I could ask you the same about an Everton player. Have you seen enough of them? Not enough to make an opinion. But from what you said, that speaks volumes. To come back from a serious knee injury and to play two full games, that's very, very rare. That.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to the 70s and 80s. That's still very, very rare.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. I was crying for him to get taken off against Spurs, because I just thought he's not going to be able to last 90 minutes, and he ended up playing nearly 110.
Yeah, they're the kind of players you want. They're really the kind of players you want.
Absolutely. Eddie Howe on maintaining a winning mentality. For us, the warning signs would be a lack of focus, that we appear first in the training ground, making sure the players are absolutely ready, absorbing the information we give them, preparing them in the right way, and not lowering our standards. I have to say the players have been very professional in this period, and they don't get this run of results if we don't have the right focus. Preparation and mentality is really important, and it doesn't drop. I think Eddie Howe's built, everyone criticises him in the transfer market, and he holds on to players too long. But to have a winning mentality and a winning formula and a winning team, you have to have the players buy-in. And he has got that, hasn't he, at the moment?
You can't imagine Eddie Howe losing a dressing room, can you?
No, you can't. He's too nice.
No. Yeah. Oh, it didn't work for him at Burnley, though. That was the only thing, the only stain on his record, really. It just didn't work for him there. Whether that was he never got on with the players, he just couldn't settle in that environment. I've no idea. I've not spoken to him about it.
Well, I know a little bit about that, because I watched one of his interviews. I think it was with Simon Jordan from TalkSport, and apparently at the time he was Burnley manager, and he lost I think it was his dad, if I remember, or his mum, and that really hit him hard. And he said that he was kind of working, but he wasn't really working. He wasn't really focused properly. His mind was elsewhere. And that's why he has to leave Burnley and go back to Bournemouth.
Well, extenuating circumstances. Fair enough. Family comes first.
Oh, 100%. So that is the press conference. Obviously, it all sounds nice and rosy at the moment at Newcastle. It's nice to have press conferences like that. It takes your mind off other things that normally go on. We've got some match facts to go through. Here they are. There's quite a few, actually, to be fair. Newcastle won 4 of the last 6 Premier League games against Wolves, 67%, having won just 2 of their first 13 against them in all competitions, 50%. That's quite low. Wolves have always made it very difficult for Newcastle. I don't know if you can remember any of our results against them, but we've always scraped past them. I remember a Chris Wood penalty to seal it 1-0, a Miggy goal near the end of the game to win 2-1. They're a tough outfit for us for some reason, even though they're not doing very well in the league at the moment. Wolves have lost each of their last 3 Premier League away games against Newcastle and never kept a clean sheet in the visitors at St James's Park in the competition. So you can.
I don't think that really matters. I mean, they have a new manager in Vitor Pereira. You know, a lot of the players won't have played in those previous games against Newcastle. I don't think players think, oh well, we do well here. I don't think it applies. I think it's coincidence if one club tends to give you difficulty. I think it's a coincidence more than anything else. I mean, people used to say the same about Chelsea with Everton, you know, and yet we got, under the circumstances, we got a good point against them at Goodison. You know,
good results can happen for them. I like the laws of probability. I always go to it. If I see a team that wins 8 in a row, I'm thinking they're due a loss. Because we know what football is like. It always happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's always something that gets thrown in.
Well, you could say that about Forest tonight, couldn't you? And I say, with my one eye, I can see that they're doing okay. Liverpool have got much more possession, as you could, probably imagine. But they're doing okay. Forest are doing okay.
Liverpool have been on a big run as well, though. So technically, they're kind of due one, aren't they? So they lost, didn't they, to Tottenham, which 1-0. I think the most surprising thing, if you play Tottenham, is you get nil. Yeah,
because they concede for fun. They also at times score for fun as well, but
they do. They're a very hit-y, missy team then.
Yeah, you should be scoring against Tottenham.
Oh, yeah. Followed their 2-win at Molineux in September. Newcastle are looking to complete their first league double over Wolves since 1905 and 1906. So that tells you how difficult it is to beat Wolves twice in a season for us. Newcastle versus Wolves has ended as a draw. 11 of the 19 occasions has been played in the Premier League, the highest ratio of any fixture played, at least 15 times in the competition. So 58% of the times we normally draw this game. It's normally 1-1. You can normally put your house on it, to be fair. Newcastle have won each of their last 5 Premier League games, as many as their opening 15 league matches of the campaign. Won 5, drawn 5, lost 5. The Magpies last won 6 successive matches in the competition in December 2022. It's not that long ago. That was obviously when we had to go on that run to stay in the Premier League. Wolves have won just 2 of their last 16 away games in the Premier League, drawn 5, lost 9, with both of them by a 3-goal margin. 4-1 Fulham in November and 3-0 Leicester in December. That was just a bit of a shock result, that one. We've done that one already. Jacob Murphy has provided 5 assists for Alexander Isak in the Premier League this season, the most one player has for another so far this term. They seem to be on fire at the moment. The last time it happened, Laurent Robert for Alan Shearer and Solomon Rondon for Ayoze Perez, the forgotten man who ended up going on to play for Spain. So yeah, there's some good match facts there. The most important one is what's the injury situation looking like? Which I do have it here. So for Newcastle, we've obviously got Nick Pope, Kraft, Lascelles, Wilson, Barnes, Joe Willock. Apparently he's got an unknown injury, which is a bit of a shame. Now this could be huge if he's missing Cunha for Wolves. He's potentially missing. Gomez, Traore, and Gonzalez are out as well. So
Cunha, he's pondering over an extension to his contract,
right?
And obviously that, he's clearly looking at, is anyone coming in for him? This month, whether he sort of decides to move away or stay. So maybe his head's not quite in the right place at the moment.
Possibly.
Good player. Good player.
Very good player.
Yeah, he scores about 1 in 2 for Wolves.
Yeah.
which is which is pretty useful.
I picked up a knock in training. That's a bit of a shame for Willock. We also got Dawson out and Semedo out as well. And he's not a bad player either, Semedo. But this is what SofaScore has Wolves set up like. Now, they have got Cunha in, so apparently he has actually passed fit, but that wasn't updated on their website. He is their star player. He's kind of single-handedly dragging Wolves through some of the games. I like Nori at left wing back as well. I think he's a very dangerous player. And they've also got a man making his debut in the Premier League, playing at centre back, and they're playing a 3-4-3, which is a tricky formation to play against since we like our free in midfield. So they are trying to smother us and make it difficult for us to play football. So I don't like playing against a 3-4-3 formation. But Cunha is the star man, isn't he? Like you mentioned,
he's very much so. As I say, well, okay, if he had a little bit of a knock and he's been past fit to play, that's fine. But we've still got 24 hours, well, less. If an offer comes in for him, or if he tells Wolves, "Listen, I'm not staying. I'm not signing a new contract extension," then you just don't know. That's something that no one can predict.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, even though he's in that sort of potential lineup, if it turned out that he couldn't play and it was not for an injury, then that wouldn't surprise me, because there'll be quite a few would take Cunha.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say Newcastle would potentially look at. He plays on the left side, and obviously we're quite rich in that department, so we're all right at the moment.
Yes.
But his rating of 7.63 is phenomenal, especially for a team that struggles to have anyone over 7. 7.63 is a very good score. He had an 8.9 against Man United, so almost a perfect game. An 8.3 against Ipswich as well. He's played 19 so far this season. He's got 10 goals. He's got 4 assists. So 14 goal involvements, which is really, really good.
That's excellent. And when you consider Wolves did go through a very sticky patch, before Gary O'Neill was sacked, and before Pereira came in, they went through a very dodgy spell.
Yeah.
And he still managed to keep up his high level performance.
Yeah, I mean, he's scoring every 156 minutes, which is
impressive. Good player.
Very good player. If you believe in XG and all that sort of stuff, it's 4.08, which is very high, to be fair, which is really good as well. So Cunha is definitely the big danger for you. I mean, the whole left-hand side is quite dangerous, especially since we don't know what our right side's going to look like potentially. So this is what I'm guessing our lineup will be. There's a few little talking points to go through and who we would pick if we, because we've got Botman returning, we've got Shaw returning from suspension, and Botman and Shaw is our strongest centre-back pairing. However, Dan Burn this season has been outstanding, and I think it would be very, very harsh on Dan Burn to be dropped just because Botman's back fit and Shaw's also available at the same time. So I don't know what I would do. What do you think you would do if you had Botman, Shaw, and Burn to pick from? What would be your pairing?
I'd stick with what you've got, what you've had in the last few games. I just wouldn't, unless you have to change. I wouldn't change at the moment. If I was Eddie Howe, unless someone was absolutely knackered. And he didn't think he could, that he needs a rest, basically. Yeah. I wouldn't, but if everyone's fit and raring to go, I'd leave it as it is. I really would. They all seem to understand each other, and they all seem to want to play with each other, which is great.
It is. The pairing, I mean, the best pairing is Botman Shaw, but I say Dan Burn's been fantastic. So the issue, Shaw played the full 90 minutes against Bromley. Botman was rested. There is a potentially slight doubt about him. So, I mean, I would go Burn, Botman personally. but I wouldn't be surprised if I see Burns Shaw, to be honest with you. We just have to wait and see. The other one is Trips or Tino Livramento. Trips played the full game against Bromley. Tino's obviously been ahead of Trips the last few games.
Trips being Trippy.
Yeah, Trippier. So
yeah. Well, I don't, not being a Newcastle fan, I'm not aware of all the nicknames.
Oh, sorry.
I just assumed Trips was Trippier.
Yeah, definitely Trippier.
Mm.
So again, it's another conundrum for Eddie Howe to ponder over. Does he play the experienced Trippier, or does he go with the young man Tino Livramento, who hasn't really put too much of a foot wrong? One's better at going forward, the other one's better at defending. So it's a toss of a coin.
I think you'll find Trippier will leave during this window as well.
There is talks of that.
Yeah, I think so.
I would be disappointed.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he came to Everton, to be honest.
Yes, Sean Dyche.
Because, he can play. Yes, there's the Sean Dyche connection, although that clearly doesn't matter now.
No.
But you've also got, we're weak at fullback.
Mm.
We've got a 39-year-old playing at right back.
Yeah.
You can only expect so much of Ashley Young. And our left back isn't good enough. That's Vitaly Mikalenko. He's just not good enough. So Trippier can play either side. Okay. I could see short term him coming in. I really could.
That'd be interesting. I don't want Trips to go on a personal point of view, because I think Trips is a leader. I think when he plays,
he was the start of your revolution, wasn't he?
Yes.
He was the first player in.
Yeah.
After the takeover and what have you, and he's been fantastic for you.
Yeah, he started it all, and he was a quality signing as well. That was getting that name.
Good player.
Yeah, fantastic. Gordon's definitely going to start on the left. Murphy will start on the right. Now, this is why I say down the right-hand side for Wolves will be potentially their best chance, because they've got pace down that left-hand side, and we've got a bit of pace, but we normally do get caught out being too high up, and that's where Tino sometimes, his brain's not as good as Trippier's. But he's quick enough to get back. It's just whether he's quick enough to catch Nori would be a different story, because he is rapid as well. The other issue is Isak fit enough? I think he will be, but Ossolu obviously scored against Bromley, got his first Newcastle goal. So there's a debate to whether you rest Isak for another game and save him for Saturday, or do you start Isak and take him off after 60 minutes regardless? That's going to be another interesting topic for Eddie Howe to ponder over, because we can't afford to lose Isak. Mind you, if he gets injured, Arsenal can't sign him.
One way of looking at
it. There's always a silver lining to something, isn't there? Watched a YouTube video last night in Everton's new stadium. They were broke down each stand. It looks good. Yeah, a lot of people like the new Everton stadium. Have you seen the stadium yet, Elton? You had a chance to have a walk around it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely magnificent. I think that we made a mistake by having the capacity at 52. I think the capacity should have been 62. I think we dropped one there.
Could it be extended if they wanted to?
I suppose they could, theoretically, but you build a new stadium, you don't want to be sort of building on top of another stand.
Yeah.
Straight away. It'll be a sellout every match, no question about that.
Yeah. It does look good, though, to be fair. And obviously it'll be
it's state-of-the-art. It really is. It's everything.
Everything we need to look at. Now, we have mentioned this already. Piers Morgan has said Arsenal should go out and do everything they can to sign Alexander Isak. 100 million, 120 million, 140 million, 150 million. He does not care. Well, it's not his money. Of course he doesn't. He says, get that deal done. And this is one of the main reasons why, because obviously he's on fire at the moment. He's won Player of the Month. He's scoring goals left, right, and centre. His stats are phenomenal for me, considering everyone laughed at us when we signed him because they said, why are you signing a striker that only scored 6 goals? They just didn't know what we had. And
in fairness to Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, they were interested in the summer before he went on this phenomenal run that he's on now.
Yeah.
No, it's not. They're not interested in simply because he scored in 7 successive games. It's not that. They fancied him. They fancied him anyway.
No, I mean, if we go to last season,
this is just its current form has just like reinforced the view of the likes of Piers Morgan, presumably a big Arsenal fan, that they should break the bank to go and get him, and I that will certainly be being talked about at the Emirates. No question about that. It'll be talked about whether, in fact, they say, well, I mean, they might put in a cheeky bid just to test the water.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
You never know. I mean, last season, 27 games, 21 goals, 2 assists. He missed. This is incredible, by the way, considering he scored 21 goals. He missed 21 big chances last season. He could have easily been in the 30, 35 goal range last season with the chances he had and didn't put away. And I was to say, this season's form's been absolutely fantastic. Played 18, started 18, 13 goals, 4 assists.
That's wonderful.
It's incredible. And we always knew what we had on our hands. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to have a look at what he's done, earlier in his career. Just take out that one bad season, he's always scored double-figure goals. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic even praised him very, very highly. And if a man like that is praising somebody else, how arrogant he is about himself, there's a good player there, don't you?
Yeah. I bet he says something along the lines of, there's a touch of me in him.
Yeah. I bet he did as well. Of course,
wouldn't be Zlatan if he didn't say something like that.
Exactly. I have to ask you a question, and it's all to do with this mentality of the Arsenals and Liverpools and things like that, about how they can just think they can cherry pick the players from teams who are doing well, like Cunha, like Isak. They can. Jared Bowen from West Ham, who's a fantastic player as well. They think they can just put the money on the table and say, right, we're taking them off you. Is that always been in football, like even back in the 70s, the 80s?
I suppose so. The club that broke the mould as well as the record was Nottingham Forest when they paid $1 million for Trevor Francis.
Yeah.
You'd have thought back then that it would have been one of the 2 big London clubs, Everton for sure, Liverpool, Man United, not Man City, who would have spent that kind of money on Francis, but it was Nottingham Forest. So that was kind of surprising. But in the main, the massive signings, going back to the early 60s, if you like, where Sir Matt Busby, Man United, paid £99,000 for Dennis Law. That wasn't a bad bit of business, was it? But that was considered to be an enormous price at the time.
Yeah, Man United have always had that arrogance, haven't they? That they can just buy who they want. I mean, they took Andy Cole from us. That hurt a lot of Newcastle fans at the time. But then obviously we went on to buy Les Ferdinand and David Ginola with the money, and we had that nearly run season, which was I don't want to talk about that. It still hurts. It really does. Win probability tomorrow 72% to Newcastle, 60% to draw, 12% Wolves. There's not many Wolves fans voting on that, and if they are, they obviously know their stuff. Head-to-head record, we've won 3, 2 draws, and no Wolves win. But the games are always tight, 2-1, 2-2, 2-1. There is a 3-0 in there, but there's also another 1-1. So it's very rare we make this a comfortable game. And And we are on a great run at the moment.
I would go so far as to say I will be astonished if you didn't win.
Yeah.
I really would. Even though I saw Wolves just before Gary O'Neill got sacked at Goodison Park, where they lost 4-0. They were absolutely atrocious. And I was surprised because when you look at the team, you think they're better than that. So clearly he'd lost the dressing room. And since Pereira's gone in, they've shown a huge improvement, apart from being beaten, of course, by Nottingham Forest at home, comprehensively too.
Yeah, there were, yeah. Guys in the chat, get your score predictions in and we'll go through them. Darren England is the referee. Any good? I don't know much about Darren England myself, to be honest with you.
No, don't know.
No. Darren Bond is fourth official. Graham Scott is the VAR, and VAR assistant is Steve Midriff, or Murdiff, however you pronounce his name there. So that's, again, officials. I get bored of talking about them, how bad they are, and how we've got the best league in the world, yet we've got the worst officials. It's crazy. This is the stat I like. Points gained from losing position, we've got 12. Wolves have got 7, so normally means when they go behind, they don't gain as much. Points dropped from winning positions, we've only dropped 4 points from winning positions. And they've dropped 13. When we go ahead, we've never lost a game this season, which is a very interesting stat as well. Right, score prediction time. So Roger Cook's gone 2-1. Andy's gone his ridiculous score, as he always does, is 11-1. There's always one. An unhappy player doesn't put in a performance Isak has. That's very true. I'm going with 2-0 win Newcastle tomorrow, says John. Gary's gone 3-1. Roger's gone 4-0 to us. We've won a few games 4-1. 4-0 this last game he was ref. Right, so he has refereed a Newcastle game before. Agreed 100%, but we never know what goes through a player's mind through just my honest opinion, but I wouldn't sell Isak for any amount of money. I agree, but again, it is down, the player does have some sort of say in it. And the one thing I am worried about this run of fixtures, Elton, is that we're playing Wolves at home, then we're playing Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth, Eddie Howe has never beat Bournemouth yet since he became Newcastle manager. It seems to be his bogey team. If you look at Newcastle's run of results over the years with Eddie Howe, every time we'll beat the big teams. Chelsea will come to St James's Park, we'll beat them. Man United come to St James's Park, we beat them. Arsenal come to St James's Park, we beat them. Then Wolves or a Fulham or a
West you might be interested to know that Bournemouth had just gone 2-1 up at Chelsea.
What? After being 1-0 down?
Yeah.
Wow.
They are a good side. You don't underestimate Bournemouth coming to St James's. Don't underestimate them at all. They came to Goodison and they were 2-0 down after 86 minutes, and they won
3-2, didn't they? I remember the game. I remember the result.
Shocking.
But this is the one thing that happens with Eddie Howe, though. He always seems to falter against the teams you expect to beat, but then he excels himself in the teams where we expect to maybe hopefully get a point, or and then we beat them. It's like it's this crazy little thing that goes on. So these are 2 games where everyone's marked down 6 points for when they shouldn't, because Bournemouth are flying.
I'd be surprised if you didn't take 6 points. Having said that, I think Bournemouth is going to be more difficult for you than Wolves. Even though I do like Wolves, I think they've shown a huge amount of improvement under Pereira.
Yes,
but I do think you'll beat them. You're asking the scores. I'll go 3-0 to Newcastle. I wouldn't be as confident against Bournemouth, that's for sure.
No, that's definitely going to be a tricky game. If someone said to me, how many points do you think we'll get? I would say 6, but how many points would I be happy with? I'd take 4, because I think a win and a draw, especially after the run of results we've had, I think that would be fantastic, because there's some games we didn't really expect to win. So I would like to Paqueta 67th minute. So West Ham are beating Fulham 3-1 at home.
Well, they'd be okay. People were talking about the relegation teams and what have you. They've always said, "Oh, West Ham." That was West Ham under Lopetegui. They'll be a different kettle of fish.
Yes.
Under Graham Potter, and they're not in relegation trouble.
Yeah, no, Potter's definitely going to do a good job there. They've got enough good quality players to.
They spent 200 million in the summer.
Exactly.
And it was just, I think Lopetegui didn't know what to do with them, basically.
No, I don't think he was the right man for the job.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Right.
I think Graham Potter is a great fit for West Ham, actually.
I agree.
He wouldn't have been a good fit for Everton, but I think he is a great fit for for West Ham.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bournemouth doing us a favour at Chelsea, win or draw. I think a draw would be a great result for Newcastle. I think Bournemouth winning wouldn't be, because Bournemouth are still right up there. They really are. Right, very quickly. Go on.
No, I was just about to say, but Bournemouth really got to be respected. I mean, not here a little old Bournemouth coming up. They're holding their own in the Premier League and having some very, very fine results as well.
Man City just scored. So that's put them 1-0 up against Brentford, away to Brentford. That's a bad result for us. This has put us down to 7th now. So we were 5th, we're now 7th, because Bournemouth are ahead of us and Man City have gone ahead of us. So it just shows you how tight the table is between.
There's a long way to go. I'd be very. Realistically, what are you looking at? Champions League? I think you've got a great chance of that.
Top 6, I'd be very happy with.
Oh well, I would hope for a little bit more after the run you've been on. If you can keep that up.
It's the if we can. I mean, you've got Man City fighting for it there. You've got Chelsea fighting for it. You've still got Villa 3 points behind us. You've got Arsenal in there. Forest are doing brilliantly. The teams who carry it on will finish in those top marks.
I take your point. I would be happy top 6 and to play European football next season. Yes, I'd settle for that, certainly. But I think at this stage of the season, with looking at all the teams around you, bearing in mind the run you're on, I'd say, come on, let's push for top 4.
Oh yeah, I would love it, and I'm sure there will be pushing.
I think that's a realistic goal for you.
Yeah,
the top 4, and then if you've got to settle for 5th or 6th, fine.
Yeah,
it's still been a good season.
I'm just one of those fans who've seen it too many times. We've always failed at the last hurdle, so I hope we get top 4. We should be pushing. I mean, top 5 could get Champions League this year, by the looks of things, with how well all the English clubs are doing in that competition.
Yeah, so very possible.
Spot, so it's all looking good there. Very quickly bash this out. We've got a great sponsor, Diacro, code BAZ20 for 20% off on all their merchandise. And we will be giving away a $40 gift card to this company to a lucky member who can then go and buy what they want. We are so close to this live event. It's unbelievable. It's actually on Thursday. Doors open at 7 p.m. All the money's going to Stanley Deaf Club and the NUFC Food Bank. We've only got about 14 tickets left. Please email superfandan831@gmail.com if you want to get involved. And we have this amazing raffle with unbelievable prizes available. £1 a ticket. That's all it is. You can get a Gaza signed shirt, a Shearer and Nobby signed photo, a Stephen Taylor signed photo, a match day program from the AC Milan game. One NUFC poster, it's like a father and son sort of thing, and a limited edition Shearer print. There's only 100 of them done. It's done by a local Northeast artist who's quite popular. I think we've still got 500 tickets left for that. We're hoping to sell quite a lot on the night, but if you would like to buy a ticket because you can't make it to the night, please contact me for the numbers. And I can't wait for that on Thursday. It's crazy. I've never done anything like this before, Elton, so it's going to be very, very interesting.
Good luck. Good luck.
I need it. Let's obviously, I think everyone's underestimated. Forrest Nuno has done an incredible job. Quite like him as a bloke. Seems a good guy. I agree. I like him as a manager and a person. And he's got the Mackham Slayer t-shirt, which is a good one. Pretty sure with things standing Europe for English teams 5th, we'll get a Champions League. I think it will as well. And Andy B's laughing. Right, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Really appreciate it. And Elton, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure. Can I just mention one thing? Can I mention one thing? Yes, I got a phone call today from somebody you'll all recognise. He didn't play for Newcastle. Andy Gray. Remember Andy?
Way. I do remember Andy.
Yeah, he'd been on holiday over the FA Cup weekend, and he read my book.
Yes.
He said it was fabulous. He really enjoyed it. I mean, he's in it quite a bit, actually. Thank you. Yeah, Game for a Laugh. It's available on Amazon. Yes. But Andy Gray recommends it. There you go.
Brilliant. You'll have to try and persuade him to come on here. See if he fancies a chat, because he was a very interesting character, Andy Gray. He's over in Saudi Arabia, isn't he?
No, he's in Doha. That's Qatar, yeah.
Ah, yes.
He and Richard Keys present the Premier League for the Middle East and loads of other countries as well.
Yeah, very nice. What a job, eh?
Yeah. Weather.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the show, and thank you for the chat as always. Makes my day when chatting to you. Thanks, John. I really appreciate that. And Roger and everyone says take care. So yes, good night, everyone. And I probably might not be available till Friday. I think that we might do a show. It depends, but I am going up home to Newcastle for the next 3 nights. So it depends if I can take all my gear with me. We'll see, because it's going to be a busy 3 days. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Elton for doing his stuff as well.
Pleasure.
Buy his book. But good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night.